Okay. You may proceed, sir.
All right, everybody. Well, welcome back to Star Wars: Rise of the Dark Side. This is our FFG Star Wars campaign. Kind of our second season of that. This first season involved Rogue and Wanderer and a few other folks, but we're continuing it on this winter. Yeah. So without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and get started. There we go. As payment for services rendered, Meena Peru has been returned to Titus and Sonnax Ordo. A starfield winks into view as the Vendetta emerges from hyperspace over the mid-rim world of Ord Mantell. Indeed, Bala has found himself down on his luck again, forced to transport two Mandalorians after their commissioned vessel was caught in the Imperial blockade of the newly occupied world of Batu. In a plan all on his own, Titus plans to meet again with the arms dealer, Loomis the Skinner. But getting close to the dangerous gangster won't be easy. In the meantime, on Ord Mantell's surface, we find a man by the name of Beck Dunn. Along with his faithful astromech droid R2B1, he labors over a modified blaster rifle, due to be retrieved by a Quarren by the name of Loomis the Snark within the hour for payment of 500 credits. And as the screen comes to life, we find ourselves, tell me if you guys can all see this here. Whoop.
Yep, I can see that.
Should be able to see, folks. We find ourselves panning down through violet and pink skies of Ord Mantell, over dusty plains and rust-colored mountains to one of the larger cities on the planet. I just noticed there's like an Xbox controller down here. We find ourselves in Beck Dunn's workshop, where he is bent over a workbench, and along with his astromech is working on what looks to be a modified blaster rifle. And the droid kind of helps Beck work on this rifle, and he's rushing to get the job done because somebody is supposed to come pick it up in an hour, or within an hour, and give him the 500 credits that he's owed. I'll let Zypher go ahead and roleplay his way into this game for the first time.
Beck is, kind of hunched over the workbench. The fluorescent lights all over the room, burning bright, and there's a smell of burnt argon. On the far wall, you can see there are black pock marks of laser fire, and Beck is muttering under his breath, "An hour he gives me to fix this antiquated piece of junk. B1, give me that phytotransistor, will you?" And kind of Beck shakes his head as he's messing around with the targeting of the rifle.
The astromech kind of rolls across the workshop, gets apart, and a little kind of mechanical arm extends from the droid's torso, and he brings it back to Beck and hands it to him with a beep of approval.
Beck looks at the phytotransistor. It's a little dirty. He kind of spits on it and then wipes it on his coveralls and inserts it into the sighting mechanism. he takes aim. Pew pew! Yeah, he shoots a couple of shots into the far wall. Mutters again under his breath. Pulls out, a micro driver and starts adjusting the lens.
The droid kind of looks up to him and kind of says in binary code, something along the lines of, okay, just one more part. And he kind of says in binary, do you trust this guy picking up this weapon?
Of course not, B1. He's gonna get just the weapon, not the fuel cells for the weapon. Plus, I'm programming the weapon so that it won't fire in this room, only when he leaves. I know. We can never be too careful with these Quarren. Yeah, especially ones that need this kind of modification on their weapons. Yeah, I understand, but 500 credits is not something that comes by each day, does it? No. Yeah, I understand that, but who's going to get your lubricant? Yeah, you think that's cheap? No. I need to keep you running. I need to keep this place running. Yeah, no, we'll take care of each other, don't worry. Once we get this Quarren, we'll find safer jobs. I know we will.
And with that, B1 rolls across the workshop, past piles of debris and discarded parts, and kind of docks himself into his charging station, and multiple green and blue lights start to blink on his torso. As you kind of put the finishing touch on the modification, give me a hard mechanics check there, Beck Dunn, with a boost die.
Oh, nice. Mechanics. Hard. Boost die.
Oh, yeah. What it looks like as this special modifications works out just fine.
Yeah, so, once B1 goes back to its charging station, Beck is just starting to hum a tune under his breath. He can hear a click within the mechanism, and he looks up through the sight, and everything is aligned. He rapidly fires the blaster rifle into the wall, and now, the burn marks do not deviate. They're all centered on the same spot. That's more like it. Nobody does better work than Beck Dunn.
R2 kind of warbles over from his docking station. He's very, very pleased with your work.
Absolutely, B1. That's why it's called Beck Get It Done. No, I'm not being boastful. That's just the truth. The best in the mid-rims, they say.
At that point, you hear a knock outside on the door.
Come on in.
The door opens and a Quarren wearing a long silk robe walks into your workshop. Well, I've seen cleaner places. Loomis the Skinner here. I'm here to pick up my rifle. Would you be one Beck Dunn?
Of course I am. The only Beck Dunn. If you can't get it done somewhere else, then Beck can get it done for you.
Very well, very well. Well, I best get back to work. I work with Loomis there at the casino. You should stop by sometime.
Oh yeah? More honest work from Loomis?
I wouldn't call it honest work. Workers at the casinos are rarely honest, but what they are, Beck, is rich. Very rich.
Rich sounds right. Rich sounds resourceful. I'll be there. I'll be there this evening after I put on my besties. Say, Louis, you wanna wager a bet?
Yeah, the Quarren kind of looks at the weapon, and his face tentacles kind of writhe in what looks to be a pleased mannerism. A bet? Of course. I'm always down for a wager, Mr. Dunn. What do you have in mind?
How about you see that melon up top over the fridge? How about if I shoot twice through it without moving it off the fridge with this rifle I made for you? You say you give me 600 credits? And if I don't, then you get it for 400.
I am a betting man, I think. I'll take that wager. Go for it, Mr. Dunn.
Let's see. I can just point at anything. I'll just point at Lou.
Just point at Luvi.
Yeah.
Just point at Luvi.
Yeah. What difficulty should I keep it at?
Average.
Any boosts? Do I have anything? I don't think so. Just a straight shot.
Yeah, it's fine.
Cool. Submit.
Oh, a miss. The blaster bolt just goes a little wide, making a score mark kind of behind the counter, behind that melon or whatever it is. And Luvi just looks at you. I'm going to chalk that up to an unskilled marksman and not the weapon itself.
Beck kind of shrugs. Oh well. And he kind of tosses him the weapon. 400 it is.
Either way, a deal's a deal. 400 credits.
And I shall see you at Loomis.
You have a good day, Mr. Dunn. It was good to meet you. If there's other business, I'll be sure to send it your way.
Very well.
He leaves and the door shuts behind him. And R2 gives a warble of approval, but then he kind of slides a little bit of a dig in at you. Kind of essentially saying that you need to go out to the range and practice your shooting.
Yes, I must. And Beck kind of chuckles to himself. But who's got the time? So many things to fix. But it is fun to gamble, my friend.
And outside, Luvi the Snark takes the weapon and puts it underneath his robe and heads on down the road of Ord Mantell. Towards the end of the street, you can hear thumping music coming from a nightclub of sorts, and there's a neon sign over the building in Arbesh, the Star Wars script they use. It says the Lady Fate Casino. And with that, there's a kind of Star Wars screen wipe, and we find ourselves in hyperspace in a ship known as the Vendetta. And we see that ship come right out of hyperspace over the same planet that Beck Dunn is on. The dusty planet, mountainous planet, the rusted planet in the mid-rim of Ord Mantell. Bala is at the helm of the ship with Sonnax and Titus in the back. Meena Peru is probably in pretty bad shape in the back as well, with a medical droid over top of her, providing her with at least some medical care so that she at least doesn't die. And I'll let you guys pose your way in.
I'll go first if that's okay. Sonnax has been injured for the last few days and has stayed out of everything that Titus has been into. He's slightly unaware of everything that's gone on, especially that they are with a Inquisitor. Currently, he's doesn't know that quite yet. He just knows that Titus had pulled him onto this ship to get off the last one, the last planet, and make a getaway. Still injured, Sonnax climbs aboard and has been rather quiet, not having an opportunity to speak to his brother without others around. Finally, he does catch a moment with his brother. Perhaps people are maybe Bala is in the cockpit, and they're near Meena and the medical droid, and he leans in and says, "What have you gotten us into? Who are these people?"
Well, brother, it's nothing we can't handle, but I would say that Inquisitor not being here right now is beneficial for us, though they do have his lackey pilot escorting us here to Ord Mantell.
Lackey.
If you could see his face, it would be one of complete and utter shock. What did you say? Inquisitor?
I believe that's what they called each other when our initial attack on Meena Peru's warehouse went awry. It garnered enough attention that they brought in the ISB and an Inquisitor to help clean up the mess. That was one of them. I thought it was weird that a Jedi was there, but then I realized what they were. Don't worry, I barely spoke of you.
Do you think he'll be able to sense that I'm force sensitive? They'll try to take me in, Titus. Just like before, if not worse.
I saved you before, I'll save you again. I'm much older and a much better shot now.
We didn't really do so well the last time we were in a scrape together.
Let's just say I've learned from the mistakes of last time. But I do promise you, if we just keep that part of you down and don't give them any reason to be suspicious, I think we'll be okay. With that said, I do have a, how would I put it, alternative plan involving that Rhodian over there.
Yeah? Like what?
Well, she keeps blabbering on about this rebellion I've only heard whispers about. She says she's part of it, and I surmise she stole those weapons from the Skinner as part of arming them. What if
she's caught now?
By us? The Inquisitor and the Imperials turned her over to us for us to hand over to the Skinner. But what if she never made it to the Skinner? What if she died trying to break out of here?
To what purpose?
It's always good to have friends on both sides. I'll take the Empire's credits, but both you and I know we're no friends of the Empire, especially after what they tried to do to you, what they did to Mandalore.
If we can get it by the Inquisitor and his lackey pilot.
Well, the first thing we need to know is whether or not this Meena will be in on it. I highly doubt she'll trust us. Is there anything you can do to convince her with your, and he kind of waves his hands like magic use?
It's not something I'm trained at, actually. It's been a long time since I've done anything besides move pebbles and rocks around. I was never much skilled with manipulation such as that. Plus, we're trying to keep it under wraps, yeah?
Well, I don't know how subtle that kind of thing can be. I believe the Inquisitor was a little more forceful,
We should
but
try
she
to kill
resisted.
him as soon as we can.
That would bring too much attention. I think perhaps convincing her to try and escape might help her go into the shadows and rendezvous with her allies, possibly.
I don't have any problem with that, but I'm sure the other two weren't going to like it too much if we're too obvious about it. God, get that medical droid over here.
Well, I'll tell you what. The droid can look at you and I'll talk to this Meena and see what she has to say.
Fine. He unclasps his padded armor and waves to the medical droid. Leave her be. Look at these scorch wounds. And I have some critical injuries.
Are you sure you want me to remove my attention from the Rhodian? She is in critical condition.
I don't
Droid,
care much.
you will tend to Sonnax here. I will monitor Meena while you tend to her. If there is any issue, I will bring it to your attention.
Does Cal hear this conversation at all?
We're in the back, in the cockpit.
I would not want that conversation to be overheard, if possible.
Yeah, the droid moves away from the Rhodian as it is bent over her. It removes several painful-looking probes from just beneath Meena's occipital bone of her skull, and as he does that, the Rhodian kind of regains consciousness. I don't know if he was injecting some sort of anesthetic, but she. Am I still alive? And then the droid says, "Yes, you are still alive. Barely. I will now remit you to the care of this Mandalorian." She goes, No! And he kind of heads over towards Sonnax to take care of him while Titus can probably question Meena more.
Once the droid is kind of out of earshot, maybe back further along the cargo hold, looking over Sonnax, Titus removes his helmet so she can see his face and kind of goes up to her and, yes, you're very much alive, but for how much longer, I don't know.
What do you plan to do with me? I feel so weak.
No, we did not get off on the best foot, considering I blew your arm off and your friend shot me in the side, but tell me, do you want to live?
Yes. What sort of question is that? I am a Rhodian. I fight until the end, and I have a cause worth fighting for. Even without an arm, there is much good I can do for the galaxy, and there are many Imperials I will bring to death with me.
It's good to know you are true to that cause, and it means something to you because I might be able to help you.
I'm listening.
Well, if you're strong enough, we Mandalorians hold no love for the Empire. With that said, if I were to somehow free you instead of delivering you to the Skinner, I want you to know that you'll owe me.
She starts to laugh.
Of course. I will certainly owe you.
Give me a average perception with a setback there, Titus.
All right.
real quickly, am I is my critical wounds healed from the droid, or?
Yeah, we'll do that here in a second.
All right, cool.
Failure. If she's holding back, you don't put two and two together just yet.
And she says, so you plan to just let me go?
That's my next question. If you have contacts here, they need to be able to find you. But I also need to make it convincing that you escaped, or more importantly, killed you. No one will try and track you down if they think you're dead.
How do you plan on doing that? The Empire has eyes and ears everywhere. Their grip is slowly closing about the galaxy. You're but one Mandalorian, and a clumsy one at that.
And yet I'm the one with both my arms, so I must have some ability.
She looked at her left arm, looks at you, and her big black Rhodian eyes kind of narrow, and she kind of like gives a shrug, going, "Yeah, you got a point there."
But I know you have little reason to trust me, as I've been working with the Imperials, but I promise you, if you know anything about Mandalore, then you will know that I share no love for them. With that said, if you are willing to be part of this little charade, I will find a way to set you free and ensure that you're not delivered to the Skinner for what will be most assuredly a violent and painful death.
Meena kind of sits forward and hesitates for a moment, and then sits back and takes a deep, heavy sigh, and then she just simply says,
Very well. I'm listening.
and as she does that, there's a screen wipe, and we find ourselves in the cockpit. Cal Bala sits in the cockpit, his shoulder harness coming tight across his chest. As he texted in the chat here, he's looking over his scanners, looking for any evidence of Imperial involvement over Ord Mantell. And fortunately for him, he does not pick up anything on his scanners. He sees trade traffic coming to and from the planet's surface, but nothing that looks overtly military. And I'll let Cal kind of roleplay his way in.
Yes, he's checking out the route to the surface, scanning over the Imperial channels. Maybe he's been picking up on whatever he can information since he's been hanging out with the Imperials for a little while. He thinks back on Meena Peru and actually feels sorry for the Rhodian a little bit, remembering his old friend and the lie that he told to his sister when she confronted him about Meena Peru. He tried to remain cold and heartless in front of her and stoic and stuff, but she kind of saw through it. He thinks about Jared as well, worried about him, and is becoming more hopeless to the thought of rescuing Jared and his sister. But while he's busy dealing with these Imperials and making money off of them, he'll still try. He'll still keep a little bit of hope. So he punches in the coordinates to his old friend. What's his name here? Beck Dunn. Yeah, and makes his way down into the atmosphere toward Beck Dunn's location.
As you do that, Cal, you're still keeping a close eye on the Imperial frequencies, and one of them. Oh, that's the wrong alert. One of them beeps, just beep 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 beep, 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 beep. Like you have an incoming transmission.
Yeah. He is gonna pause over it for a second, and then he clicks it.
And the voice kind of comes online here. Hello? This is Supervisor Alecia Beck. With who am I speaking? Is this Captain Bala?
This is Bala.
Captain Bala.
What can I help you with?
I am most pleased that I am able to talk with you. I have just finished speaking to your sister. Unfortunately, I did not have a close relationship to her prior to this entanglement. Such drama in your family, Cal. But she is a most dutiful servant of the Emperor.
He's gonna sit back, kind of surprised at her demeanor. He remembers her being like really mean, you know. So he's like, well, thank you very much. I'm sure she does what she can to make the Empire happy.
Her next paragraph is quite cold and menacing, even though it has a veneer of civility to it. She did inform me, Cal, that you would be most compliant. Of course, she does say that you love your sister with all of your heart. And if you did stray from your mission, Cal, that, well, Inquisitors can always be replaced. And the Emperor and Lord Vader have ways of causing pain that are quite unimaginable to the uninitiated.
Oh, well, you don't have to threaten me with the safety of my sister. All you'd have to do is dangle some credits in front of me, and I'd be just fine with that.
I don't make threats, Captain Ballard. I simply make statements of fact. Now, on to the reason of my calling. We did break the encryption code on Coruscant from the computer on Batuu.
Yes. He starts to look around and see if anybody else is in the cockpit with him or near it. Might be around to hear whatever's coming.
I think they're in the back still. And she'll go on. Well, it seems that your captive Rhodian was in cahoots with one Loomis the Skinner. It wasn't a theft after all, but more of a planned interception, if you catch my drift, Captain Bala. We've learned all we need to know about Loomis and his operation, and now the Emperor means to make an exhibition of him, an example. When you drop Meena off on planet side, I would like you and the Mandalorians to destroy him and his organization in the most painful, most public way possible. Do you understand, Cal Bala? And if it's credits you want, then it's credits you will have.
I understand. How many credits are we talking about?
1,500 credits now? 1,500 credits after Loomis the Skinner has his head on a pike.
Well, then it shall be done.
Ah, most excellent. Your sister was right. You are a pleasant chap indeed. It was good doing business with you, Cal Bala, and remember, I don't make threats. Simply fulfill promises.
Have a beautiful day.
And with that, the blonde-haired, cyber-eyed vixen disappears from your hollow terminal, leaving you in the cold dead of space again, with 2 Mandalorians in back and a medical droid now kind of approaching Sonnax Ordo. The droid kind of shuffles up to Sonnax with a mechanical sound of servo motors humming, and he says to you, "How can I be of assistance, Sonnax Ordo?"
Yeah, well, I have, he points out 2 blaster burns. One here in my hip and one here in my side. Could use them getting looked after and on the road to recovery.
Very well. I will assess you medically and perform a triage evaluation. Do know this, Mr. Sonnax Ordo, that I am not programmed to lie. Thus, I feel it important to tell you that this will hurt quite a bit.
Great.
And he starts to scan, look over you, and jab several needles into you as he starts to look at your wounds and assess you for any internal bleeding and other injuries. So, look at your sheet there, Sonnax.
I am.
And tell me how difficult those wounds
Both
are.
are 2 purples.
2 purples. Okay, so he's going to go ahead and try to treat you here with medicine. He gets a boost die. They're average. And I'll let you pick which one is taken off, and then tomorrow you can do the next one. One boost. Fail. So how would that go about role played?
Yeah, it's just like trying to, I don't know, this thing just isn't very good. It starts to, spray like a hypo spray type of thing over one of the burns, and we'll just say the thing runs out as it's trying to spray. He looks down, he's like, "What are you waiting for?"
Has CT4 had a successful medical check yet?
No. As Titus is like kind of, whispering to Meena, and he hears, this droid failing yet again, he can't help but smile and kind of pops his head up. There's a back to tank in the back, brother.
Why didn't you tell me? He gets up, pushes the medical droid away. He's like, "Thanks for plunging your needles into me. Who owns you? You should be recycled for scrap."
I sense frustration in your voice, Sonnax. I assume that is from the painful procedure. I do apologize, but your wounds are quite severe. It is not my fault.
He goes looking for the back to tank.
As to your question, I am owned and personal property of one Alecia Beck, ISB Supervisor. I am serial number 1563B278.
I didn't know Imperial droids failed so much.
He just looks at you with the evil looking medical droid stare, and then he says, "I will be watching over you while you are in the Bacta."
Great. Good to hear it. I go to the Bacta.
So there would be a kind of a screen wipe, and I think Beck would be in his workstation still, hanging out with R2, and maybe he's listening to some music, doing some other projects, and Cal Bala is kind of piloting the ship through the atmosphere, and then Cal Bala himself kind of pops up on Beck's holo terminal there as he's waving in to say hi. I'll let you guys take that scene.
Yeah, Beck's kind of busy looking at some other gadget that he's taken apart, and he's replacing circuit boards and memory cards on it when there is a static buzz and the holocron, just lights up with Bala on it. What? Bala, you old dog. Are you in the sector?
I am. How are you? I'm bringing the ship by. I hope you don't mind.
Oh, I don't mind at all. I get a chance to take a look and see what you have done to it. Is it in one piece or broken as usual?
It's still being held together by glue and bolts.
And when was the last time you drained the Bacta tank, you old dog? 10 cycles?
It's been a while. I've had a couple of Mandalorians in it since then, so I should probably clean it out.
Yeah, yes, after those guys, for sure. They don't take showers under those armors, do they?
That armor's got to stink after a while.
Yeah, now your Bacta tank is stinking, you fool.
Well, alright. It'll be good to see you again. We need to catch up.
You too. I'll have some of that good old country wine ready for you when you get here.
Alright, Mr. Beck. I'll see you soon.
Get it done.
And Bala will click the communicator off. But his big smile fades as he kind of thinks about what he's got to do when he gets here.
There's another screen wipe, and there's a cutscene of the Vendetta kind of entering through the atmosphere and circling over the spaceport. Bring you guys over here so you can kind of just see what the planet looks like. And so it's the typical Star Wars thing with the shuttle kind of coming down out of the gray clouds with kind of vapor trailing behind it, and it kind of lists the port and slowly kind of descends down into the spaceport. Sonnax and Titus, and I don't know if Meena or the droid are with them or not. You guys can roleplay that. But they kind of exit the ship, and they kind of stand in the spaceport near one of the local streets there on Ord Mantell. And Cal knows that Beck's workshop really isn't too far away, and they can head there if they were like. But otherwise, it's kind of time to all to come together and share all the information you guys have learned over the last several hours, and yeah, go from there.
I think at first, as maybe even before we leave the ship, Cal will kind of get Sonnax and Titus and talk to them alone for a moment.
Yeah, we'll pretend like the ship has landed like around here at some point. Too bad. Okay, there you go.
And what was her name? She was from the IPA. Was it IPA?
ISB.
ISB.
Imperial Security Bureau.
ISB. And what was her name?
Alecia Beck.
Beck. Do both of them know Beck? I know Titus
I
does.
do, but he doesn't.
No.
Okay.
The Beck name was from last session, and the Beck first name for Zypher's character. That's just a coincidence.
All right. So yeah, before they leave the ship or anything, out of the hearing range of Meena, I guess as well. Cal will be like, I have to talk to you two about something. I get a call from ISB Beck on the way down here.
Well, what'd she have to say?
There's a change in the assignment. They threatened the life of my sister. And we have to assassinate the target. Well, they're dangling 1,500 credits in front of us as well, but
1,500 each.
I think it's a flat rate. 1,500 now, 1,500 when the job is done.
Like my brother said, each?
No, I think that's it.
I can get a bigger reward for just turning her over to the Skinner. Why would I do that?
Skinner is the target.
Why?
Apparently ISB doesn't need Skinner anymore, or they need Skinner removed. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about you, but I don't really see an upside to that job whatsoever.
Did they say why they want him eliminated? This makes no sense. He's an arms dealer for them.
And she didn't go into a great deal of backstory over this, but
I mean, it's the Empire. They want each other dead. Probably just piss someone off. Wouldn't be surprised. Anyway, I think you're going to have to count me out on this one. It looks at Cal Bala, only meeting him briefly. But thanks
He
for the
nods.
bacta. Your, that droid in there is shit, though.
Oh, the droid worked on you?
Tried to.
What is it with that thing? I think it tried to work on your friend here,
You should
Titus,
sell
as well.
You should sell it for parts.
Yeah, its ability to heal is fairly poor.
At a rate of 1 wound every 2 hours, incapacitated recovery.
Yeah, but if Sonnax wants to do a resilience, if you want to do a resilience check at
Sure.
average, I'll let you do that.
Sure.
Let's roll for destiny points too, by the way.
Yeah.
So for all of you guys, it should be under the initiative utilities hot button at the top left.
You said roll destiny?
Oh, baby.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Thank you for the triumph.
That's a fail.
No, triumphs.
Still failure.
No, triumphs are automatic successes, aren't they? They don't.
No, they're not.
No.
No.
You sure about that?
I'm positive. But you have a triumph to use.
I would like to use a triumph to heal one of my injuries.
Yeah. The injury check is a failure, but yeah, something good can happen from it. I don't know what. Yeah, it counts as a success. So the success and the failure cancel each other out.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Mm-hmm. I know that's a weird roll for a resilience check. We'll think about it.
Can I ignore, since my injuries aren't healed, can I ignore them until next session?
Yeah, that's good. Let's do that.
That makes sense.
Like you're all hopped up on the back of
Yeah,
it, but you know
basically.
the structural damage is still there, but you're
Right.
feeling pretty good.
He
Yeah,
keeps
that sounds good.
smearing it all over himself.
Beck, Cal, I need destiny rolls for.
Yeah, let me get that. That is under, what is in the utilities?
Yeah,
There you go.
there you go.
Did I
We got
meet
what?
Skinner before?
2 and 2. No, you have not. You've not met him before. Sonnax and Titus have done jobs for him in the past, though.
Damn.
So Sonnax says he's like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be involved in killing this dude. It's Titus and Cal doing it at this point.
Yeah. Since Cal doesn't know too much about him, I guess he'll ask Titus about that and say, what kind of story does this Skinner have? Who's he connected to?
I don't know who so much he's connected to, as he's a arms dealer and general ne'er-do-weller. He apparently runs guns on the Outer Rim and does some of the uglier work for the Empire. My knowledge is that he sends shipments of weapons where they need to go, where the Empire doesn't necessarily have the reach or manpower. And this Meena Peru stole a shipment of his guns. We were sent to intercept it. We've done jobs for him of a similar nature in the past, so nothing really seemed out of the ordinary. He has quite the setup to go in and try and eliminate. Are we just taking the head off the snake, or are we destroying his whole outfit?
She did mention something about the whole Meena Peru deal being some kind of setup.
What do you mean setup? You mean they're working together?
Yeah, is there any way I could roll, a Cal check, since he's a lot more charismatic than me, and convince him of this story, even if it's false?
Oh, yeah. So you can do deception. You could try to charm him. Just depends how you want to roleplay it.
Yeah, let me do some charm.
Yeah, kind of like, smooth him a little bit. So that's going to be resisted by Titus's... Let me look at Titus's sheet real quick here. I'm going to say it's resisted by his streetwise.
Is this an average roll?
Yep, so this could be average. So 2 purples. Yep, average.
Boost 0, setback 0.
Mm-hmm.
I do have something here. Convincing demeanor. Rank 1. Remove B per rank of convincing demeanor from deception or skullduggery checks. That give me a boost?
Yeah. Yep, my little house rule, just to let you guys use your talents more. If I haven't put a setback onto a check and you kind of call that out, I'll let you add a boost instead. So if you want to do deception instead of charm, you could use that.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. So you're able to, not let in on the fact that Meena Peru and Loomis are in cahoots. It's quite likely, that Loomis is playing both sides of the coin, right?
Yeah.
So that's what the ISB supervisor told you. But you're able to relay this information to Titus without kind of revealing that little morsel of information.
So I basically think that he's playing both sides, and I don't know that they're in cahoots. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can't say I blame Loomis, but looks like he got his tentacle caught in the cookie jar here, and he's going to have to pay.
I think you're right, unfortunately. I mean, I told Beck that she didn't have to threaten me with the life of my sister to get me to do a job. Just pay me some credits.
I have to say that this is kind of dumb. For us, at least, not making much money. Why don't we just tell him the truth, and he'll probably pay us more? That way he can disappear from the Empire. We could just say we killed him.
It's a possibility. We could go in there, explain that we're here to deliver Meena, and maybe blow the whole place up. Whether or not he's in there or not, irrelevant to me.
Why do we have to blow anyone up? Just say we killed him. What is this? Skinner's a Quarren, right? Just find another Quarren and kill him.
I don't think it'd be that easy, though.
Burn him. Burn him.
I imagine they're going to want some proof.
Well. Not sure I'm interested in sticking my neck out for a bunch of imps.
Not for that low of a price.
As you guys are discussing, Beck Dunn sees the Vendetta land on the pad, and he kind of puts the circuit board he was working on back onto the workbench. Come on, B1. Good old Bala is back in town. Let's see what new adventures he has picked up this time.
I think Cal will look out the window or whatever, see Dunn coming up, and with the R2 droid, and lower down the walkway, and kind of walk out with a big smile, and his arms out to, "Hey, how you doing?"
Yeah, I know. Look at all the scorch marks on that ship. What have you been doing, Bala? Running around with pirates?
Oh, you know the usual. I gotta be me.
And
Cow
the medical
Bala, baby.
droid, is it still functional? It's not been serviced in the last 15 cycles.
Oh yeah, that thing still's non-operational.
Yeah, thanks for telling me about that before it started jabbing me with needles.
I figured you'd see my back to tank back there, with all the black lights and the strobe lights and lava lamps and stuff set up on there.
No.
That's my love chamber.
Right in the back, huh? Somebody fall over.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll remember. I guess maybe that droid working on me isn't so bad after all.
Yeah.
So who are these Mandalorians, Bala? What's going on?
Oh, these are just friends of mine.
Well, why don't you all come inside while B1 can take a look at your ship and figure out what needs to be fixed and what needs to be replaced. The Bacta definitely needs to be gone. It's been sitting in there for the past 10 cycles.
Oh yeah. I brought some credits to to throw your way for hooking me up. Yeah,
Well,
it's
come
good
on
to
in,
see
come
you.
on in.
Yeah, I gotta talk business to you as well when we get inside.
Yeah, B1, don't make sure you don't get any of that back on you.
Sonnax looks at his brother. The hell?
Yeah, Titus would put his helm on, just kind of shakes his head like, gross.
Well, Mandalorians, come on in. Bala says there's some business to be discussed. And I can always use credits in my life.
It seems like one thing we all have in common.
Titus just kind of nods towards Beck and enters his establishment.
Welcome to the House of Beck. Anything that needs to be fixed, I can do it. Anything that needs to be replaced, I can fix it. Anything that needs to be built, I can find it.
You're saying you can find stuff and build stuff, huh?
Mm-hmm.
How rare.
Your chair broke.
I thought it was the shock of the amazing roleplay, and you just fell over or something.
So
Oh my
you
God.
walk into his workshop, and you are greeted with the ambient sound of computers buzzing and so forth, and power supplies humming away. The airlock kind of closes behind you, and Beck shows you in, and R2 rolls up to Cal, hasn't seen him in a long time, and kind of warbles at him a little bit.
Yeah, of course he has put on some weight, B1.
Yeah, so he walks in and looks around and says, "Oh, this place is just a damn mess. I see you haven't changed either. Did you fire that maid?"
A mess. No, this is not mess. This is I know where everything is and where everything should be. It's a symphony of motion.
There's a method to this chaos, I see.
Brilliance is a method to the brilliance.
And he says, "Well, tell me about your friend, what's that guy's name?
Skinner.
Skinner, yeah. Tell me about your friend Skinner."
Well, I don't know Skinner personally, but I do know a Quorans that works for him. I recently did some work for that Quoran, fixed their laser sights on their blaster pistol. Louis the Snark is his name. And yeah, he works for Loomis the Skinner.
The hell are all these names? The Snark?
Foreign, man. They've got an odd sense of humor, what can I say? When you've got dangling bits underneath your chin.
You ain't real good friends with Skinner though, right?
Well, you know me, Bala. If I can be friends with you, I can be friends with anyone. I could be even friends with these two Mandalorians.
Yeah, you seem real friendly.
I am friendly. I can get myself out from a pinch and into a pinch, if you know what I mean. So, what do you need done with Skinner?
Well, I would like to find out where he's at, and
Maybe we should get a meet. Just face-to-face type.
Yeah, I can do that. Louis knows me well. I do good work for Louis. He shall get me, and by extension, all of you, an audience with Skinner.
Yeah, we
After all, that's
knew
what
Skinner
Louis...
a little.
Oh, excellent. Because Louis said I should meet Skinner anyway and get more jobs. So I think we can all go together and say a hello to that quarrel.
Yeah. Bala,
Well, do you guys have
gonna tell him though?
Tell me what?
Well, your friend here wants to kill him.
What?
he kind of frowns at that, and he says, I'm in a bit of a squeeze with the Empire.
Bala, when are you not going to be in a squeeze with the Empire? You need to give up on your sister, man. She's going to bring you down.
And he does seem kind of surprised when he mentions that, and he says, you're probably right. You're probably right about that. He says, they're threatening her life if I don't do this job for 1,500 credits. Then they're going to take my sister out. Or so she says, anyway.
Well, my friend, the first thing I think needs to be done is teach you how to make a bargain. 1,500 credits, that's it. To take out somebody like Loomis the Skinner. Not even 1,500 for the each of you.
That's what we said.
I tend to agree with my brother here.
Okay, so this is what's going to happen, Bala, my friend. You're going to have a representative in the next time you have these conversations with the Imperial and kind of, Beck kind of does finger quotes in the air. He is squeezing you dry, giving you pittance for difficult work.
Does the Skinner have a lot of crew running with him?
He's a freaking arms dealer, my friend. You think he's got... Yeah, he has this entire district under his thumb. This entire district of Ordo. No. I think there's a different way to play this. Nobody likes Imperial attention.
No, I don't even want to do the job.
Oh, let's go talk to Loomis. Let's all go talk to him and see what he says. Let's play our cards right, and we might make money from both ends.
It shouldn't be hard to get a meeting. We have the Rhodian.
And he does want the Rhodian.
Excellent. If you boys would like to freshen up in some clean aqua and not some 10-cycled old Bacta, the wash closet's right there. Go ahead.
Well, now that I've learned about the 10-cycle Bacta, I might take you up on that offer.
There's also some meals in the food chamber there.
You mean the refrigerator?
Well, it was a refrigerator. Now it's not refrigerating as much. It's just a chamber where food remains.
Hell yeah, I'll check that out.
Got any chocolate eggs?
Christ, this is Star Wars.
Sorry.
Cal goes over to the food chamber and and starts to look for something in there.
It's something that looks like chocolate eggs with some fur on it.
He starts to think, though, as he's sitting there with the fridge door open, whether he should do this or not. And this is like a big decision right here. If he doesn't do this job, he's cutting out Jaren and his sister. I'll be right back.
Yeah, Sonnax.
As-
Yeah, go ahead.
As Cal is kind of mulling it over, Titus can pipes up. 1,500 for all three of us is laughably low unless we're getting something else out of it. And I don't know much about Skinner's operation, but not quite sure where I see the advantage. We're mercenaries. We're not employees of the Empire. I can say no. And I feel bad for Cal and his sister, but yeah, she's an Inquisitor.
Yeah, we didn't agree to anything. We just agreed to bring this Rhodian back to Skinner, and that's what we're gonna do as far as I know. If Cal wants to try to kill him, I'll step aside and he can try.
Yeah, it is weird that this ISB agent didn't try and ask us and try and employ our services.
It's because it seems like a dumb move, to be quite frank.
Well, guess it's up to Cal, because his sister is the one that's possibly going to suffer for this.
Yeah, no offense to Cal there, but I could give a shit less.
Shit is now Star Wars canon. They said it in Andor.
Yep, there you go. You said it was like Andor.
Does Beck overhear any of this discussion?
I didn't think we were being particularly quiet about it. So, yeah.
I think there's a way to make money from both sides. If you play your cards right, I am pretty sure. Well, an operation like the size of Loomis, we can't just go in guns blazing, right?
Correct.
So, we report back to ISP saying, hey, we have scoped out the operation and we have some ideas of how to take it out. It's going to take us some time. In the meanwhile, let's become closer to Loomis. And when the time's right, we tell Loomis he's being hunted by the Empire. If I know Loomis, he's not going to like that. Any attention from the Empire is never good attention. So he might want to make it look like he has been killed. And if we do our job right and make it look like we have actually maybe, not quite really, possibly potentially killed him, then you make money from both sides. Empire Alliance, it doesn't matter. Credits are credits.
Well, I do think it's a good idea to have the Empire think we've succeeded for Cal's sister's sake, but at the same time, more importantly, for my own skin and my brother's here. But I also think giving them the opportunity to disappear based on the illusion of their death is a good idea too.
One can never have enough friends and enough credits, is how I look at it.
Except when one friend that you have turns you over.
Then you find some more friends.
Unless you're dead.
Then you have no worries at all, my friend.
Well, I guess the least we can do is talk to them and see what they say.
Well, let's make, I guess, if you want to contact Skinner, brother, tell him we have the Rhodian.
I can do that.
Say we want to bring some new friends along.
Fair enough.
Then we shall see where the evening goes from there. All I know is, at the place that Skinny has, it's always a party.
Well, all I'm saying, if guns are drawn, I'm stepping aside unless they're pointed at me.
Oh, no. Guns won't be drawn.
Tell your friend.
Oh, I'll take care of Bala. I'll talk to him. He's not going to rush into anything foolish just yet. I hope he's not trying to eat that chocolate edging in the fridge. That would be truly foolish.
Oh my god, you can hear him. What the hell is this? And then he comes back in. Some weird looking stuff dribbling down his chin. He says, I like this plan. I think I like this a lot. I feel better about this already.
Well, I'm glad, my friend, because in the not-so-distant future, you're not going to be feeling so great about that little meal you just had.
And there's a screen wipe, I suppose, if there's nothing else. Unless Titus wants to ring up Skinner. Otherwise, he can just show up at the casino, I guess.
Casino it is.
Casino.
Rogue, are you just now standing there? Sitting
No,
on the
I
floor?
went and got another chair. Did you hear that?
Well, yeah, right when it happened, I was like, wait, did he just fall over? That's...
I figured it'd be Bo that was too fat for his chair. And it broke.
Oh.
I said, that's my fun room or something like that. And my wife says, oh yeah. And I turned around and the chair just went into like 20 pieces.
Oh, goodness.
I'll let you guys role play what looks like as you guys roll in there with this Rhodian that can barely stand on her own. Like, you have to hold her up, basically.
Titus kind of walks over to the side that doesn't have an arm. He says, oh, you look pretty beat up. Why don't you put your arm around it? And then walks to the other side and goes, why don't you put your arm around me and I can bear most of the weight as we walk in.
You're a funny one, Titus. It's what we call gallows humor. And if you don't play your cards right, Mandalorian, you're going to be hanging from that gallows soon. She looks at you in the eye.
Titus goes up to his helmet and kind of taps, where his ear would be, hearing that weird noise again. He kind of leans in. You just remember what I said. I want you to make it out of here, whether you believe it or not.
I'm not quite sure if I do believe it. If I get out of here, I am a Rhodian of my word. One good turn deserves another, Titus Ordo.
We shall see.
And as you walk into the casino, it's as if the stale, dusty air of outside Ord Mantell is gone away. And you walk underneath this Arbesh sign that says, the Lady Fate Casino. And the air in there just seems fresh, and there's a sweet fragrance in the air. All around you, there are people gambling. They're playing cards on tables. They're playing something that looks like roulette. There's a lot of laughing, drinking, and carrying on. You see people smoking in the corners. You see people being very affectionate with each other in the corners. But what's also very obvious is the place is just lined with guards everywhere. There are pit bosses and masters kind of going around looking at all the tables. As your gaze strays skywards, you see security cameras and that sort of thing as well.
Mm.
And there's toilet dancing girls.
I hope you don't own this place. Cal will be walking with Meena as well, and Titus. And he'll mention to Meena, "You gave us a good fight back there. And when I told my sister that I didn't care what happened to you, that wasn't all true, you know."
I don't know what's true and what's false. All I know is that this casino has a veneer of impropriety. Do you trust this, Loomis?
She's obviously playing it off that she's in cahoots with him, acting like she doesn't know the guy.
And he'll maybe like lean in and whisper, and he'll be like, "No, do you?" And just kind of like look at her sideways.
I don't trust anyone who has his office in a place so gilded.
Yeah, he'll start scanning around, looking at security as they're making their way through.
Yeah, it's just there's guards, kind of pretty much everywhere, kind of walking around, looking at all the card tables, but there's nothing out of the ordinary. It's a Star Wars casino. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah. Plenty of guards.
What are the rest of you guys doing?
I'm just walking towards the back there, behind Titus and Meena. Just keeping an eye out. Nothing special for me.
Titus will help Meena walk. He'll kind of, not necessarily lead the way, he'll allow people who clearly had a little bit more interaction, it seems, Beck, and to lead the way to wherever they need to go to meet.
R2B1 tweets and beeps and boops as you roll in, and in binary he asks Beck if he has any credits to spend because he's feeling lucky.
E1, just be careful. Don't end up owing the house more than we can afford. And he kind of tosses about 10 credits towards B1. Yeah. I'll be around. Find out who this Loomis guy is and what he has to offer. You just stay out of trouble, you hear? You do that. We could use a new refrigerator. The food chamber is... Yeah, no good. I'm worried about Cal. Yeah, I know. But I needed to fix that blasted rifle now, didn't I? Yeah, I'll try and make more money next time. And with that, Beck starts walking away towards where Cal is, and I think Loomis is through those curtains. That's where I met the other Quarren the last time.
Then lead the way, my friend.
As you walk through, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, as you walk through the casino, you do see a a familiar face. Luvi kind of spots you, kind of walking towards the back area, and kind of comes up to you, and he says, "Let me find the." He says, "Oh, good to see you, Beck. I didn't think you'd come so quickly, and it seems you brought friends. Well, the more credits in the house's pockets then. But I guess what matters is you have fun. Care to introduce me?"
Of course. Louis Snark. This is my friend Cal Bala. And these are his friends, the Mandalorians.
Ah, so good to meet you, Cal. And you as well, Mandalorians.
It's my pleasure. This is a lovely place here.
I'm just the day manager. But yes, we do quite well. Ord Mantell is a depressing place to live and work between me and you. This place relieves the citizens of Ord Mantell of their worries and their credits.
It's nice to have such a profitable enterprise.
Indeed it is, indeed it is. I can afford such niceties as the modified blaster that Beck here made for me recently. I do say, Beck, it is in my office upstairs now, and it's such a piece of work. I've never seen such exquisite craftsmanship from a human.
What can I say? When you got to get something done, you get to Beck, for he's the best.
Well, boys, can I show you to a table, or perhaps a room with some private dancers? Or
Actually,
are you going to be cheap
we're
rats?
here to see Skinner.
Ah, this is not a pleasure visit then. More business?
That's right.
I mean, I wouldn't refuse the private dances after our business.
Oh yeah. Yeah, me and Dunn should do that.
The Quarren laughs, and his face tendrils kind of curl up as he gives a big, hearty, throaty guffaw. Ha! Well then, dancers will head your way as soon as the credits start flowing from your pockets. I can go upstairs and let Loomis know that you're here. Can I tell him what the visit is about, or is this on a hush-hush basis?
Meena Peru.
He looks a little bit odd when you say that, and his eyes narrow slightly, and he kind of ushers you guys into a side room. That is a name I did not hear. I didn't think would be mentioned again in my presence. Come hither. We need to get away from listening ears.
Very well then, lead the way.
He leads you guys kind of into this like little corner area, and it looks like people are kind of more sitting down and having something to eat and drink, and not gambling as much. And he says in a very low voice to Beck, who mentioned Meena?
I did.
Yeah, he says, to Sonnax. He says, Mandalorian, I'm not familiar enough with you to discuss that name.
He looks over at Meena. That's why I want to talk to Skinner.
He looks at Meena, obviously did not recognize her because she's like beat to hell, and her arm's missing, right?
Yeah.
And he kind of leans towards Sonnax's helmet, and he just whispers, "Is that Brody and Meena? She's seen better days."
When are you going to set us up with a meeting with Skinner? How long is this going to take? Are you going to talk us to death?
I could simply turn you back onto the street for bringing this Rhodian here, if that's what you would like.
Well, since Skinner asked us to bring her to him, I think that would probably be a bad idea.
He hesitates for a moment and says, "Let me go upstairs. I will leave you to drink and gamble for less than an hour. I'll return with more information."
That's worrisome. As he walks off, Cal will look to them kind of worried a little bit and say, "An hour, huh? That's enough time to gather a bunch of guns."
Important people like that make us individuals wait because they believe we are beneath them.
If he just wanted to sick some dogs on us, all he had to do would be call over the guards. Wouldn't think it's that.
Yeah, I guess you're right. He starts looking out there on the floor at the guards.
It could be just
And,
this Loomis the Snark doesn't know what's going on. Who knows?
Yeah, Luby will walk away unless you stop him.
No, I don't plan that.
I'll actually try to stop him. Just to maybe soften the air between them, you know. And say, "Hey, my friend's just a little upset, is all. He doesn't mean to be rude. We just need this meeting to go well, and as soon as possible, and as quiet as possible. You know what I'm saying?"
The Corin kind of pulls you to the side, kind of out of the earshot of the others, if that would be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he pulls them over. All three of you guys, you see these cameras overhead, though. They're following, they're all on you. And then as Luvi and Cal walk over to the corner, they kind of follow them over. Luvi says, "This Meena character, Loomis the Skinner, thought that she might have been dead. He wasn't necessarily expecting her to show up in this shape, much less in the company of Mandalorians."
He says, "There's some urgent information and dangerous information that we're bringing. We just need to talk with him as soon as possible."
I appreciate your candor, Mr. Bala. Then you would not object to Mr. Loomis having his guards present during this meeting? I do not want tensions to escalate, and sometimes the presence of force is a reminder not to act rashly and make ill-thought decisions.
As long as they're his most trusted.
Everyone in this casino was trusted by Loomis the Skinner, including myself.
Are you sure? Are you sure there's not somebody that could be a spy?
I'm as sure as possible. I vetted most of the guards myself, and Loomis's personal security detail are droids.
Droids could be hacked, right? Sliced. You never can tell.
If you're looking to set my mind at ease, Bala, you're doing a poor job of it.
You do what you have to do. But I'm telling you, we just bring in some dangerous and costly information.
Well, why don't you give me a
Charm?
yeah, how are you charming though? You're just telling that they can't trust anybody and that blah blah blah. Where's your charm?
I guess this might be more, well, I guess he's trying to push on him that, not to trust people, so a more private meeting would be in his best interest, but maybe streetwise?
Yeah, that'd be fine. For some reason, okay, I had the wrong sheet open for you. Yep. Yeah, streetwise would be fine.
All right, would that be average?
It's going to be average with one upgrade of the difficulty.
All right. I don't think I get a boost to this either.
Fail. Okay. Give yourself a strain there as well.
Okay.
This whole situation being stressful. He kind of leans over to you and says, "We're going to take this meeting, but I'm going to ask that yourself and your friends disarm yourselves before going up to see Mr. Skinner. I don't want anything to happen just because the presence of blasters usually leads to those blasters being used."
That's an understandable assessment. And Cal's definitely displeased by this. His smooth words failing him. And he says, well then I'll see you soon.
Very well. Just give me, say 30 minutes or so. This keycard will get you up into the penthouse. But if we see anyone with any weapons, it's going to be a bad situation. Loomis does business with all sorts of people. You come in peace, and all parties will stand to gain from this interaction. But if you bring any danger or violence with you, well, Loomis the Skinner can do the same.
He'll nod, kind of offer a half bow. He'll go back over to the others and say, yeah, so they want us to meet up at the penthouse in about 30 minutes, and we're going to have to drop off our blasters.
Is this some sort of joke that I don't understand?
No, I'm pretty sure that Sonnax pissed him off. He wants us to turn in our blasters.
I don't have any blasters, so they can have mine.
No weapons, is what he said.
Guns are part of my religion. It's like asking me to give up my holy book.
He kind of shrugs and he says, I guess that's the only way he'll meet with us.
What do you think, brother?
Honestly, I don't have much reason to meet with him at all. We have Meena. That's what he hired us to do. this other negotiation is completely on you, Cal. I don't know, what do you think, Beck?
Actually, when you guys turn around to ask what do you think, Beck, you'll see that Beck has actually turned his chair around and he's looking out through the curtains at the Twi'leks twerking, and he's kind of like sitting in the chair and grooving with the music as well, and he's like, huh? You asked a question.
I asked, well, they want us to hand in our weapons before we meet with the Skinner.
Well, do you want to meet Skinner? Maybe it's just if Bala and I go meet Skinner.
We have Meena. That's what we're
She
here
can
for.
stay with us while they talk.
Sure.
You know, we can explain what is it that we are here to do, right? And, you know, if he can trust Bala and me, then we can try and help him trust you too as well. Even if it's with your blasters by your side. Anyway, there's nothing much to worry. We have some time to kill. And with that, Beck kind of smirks, turns his chair around, and is grooving to the music, watching the twerking Twi'leks.
As he turns around, Titus kind of looks to Cal. If you want to go up there and talk to her, you can. You can leave your comm link open so I can listen in, but sorry, that don't smell right. I don't think I'm going to go up there unarmed. He's met with us a couple times before. We've worked with him. He knows I'm not going to do that. And I don't think my brother's going to give up any of his weapons either. We can stay down here.
He didn't ask you to give up your weapons before when you met him? Oh.
We would be the worst Mandalorians ever if we did that.
We're not those cowards that believed in pacifism. We're the real Mandalorians.
Cal nods, and then walks over to Beck, and then watches what he's watching. And he'll slide Beck Dunn 500 credits. And he says, "Hey, it is good to see you again. Thanks for sticking by my side."
Anytime, Kyle. That's what, after all, friends are for.
And I am giving you 500 credits. I'm taking it off my sheet.
Oh, yeah. Cypher, you can put 400 in there from Luvi from earlier, and then 500 from Cal.
Nice. But tell me, Cal, you need to make some plans about your sister. At this rate, you're going to get in trouble. Even I won't be able to talk you out of.
You know, I think your plan is right, though. I think this is the best choice. I'm going to have to make a decision somewhere. And every time I make one, when I'm with the Empire, I just feel terrible about it. I've already done too many dark deeds for them.
At some point, your sister will have to decide for herself. It can't be you who's always trying to get her out. She has to want to come out.
I think she's too far gone already.
Then all that's left is take the money and run, my friend. The Empire is going to keep expanding. And for people like us, the Alliance is going to be no picnic either. Wherever you go, there's rules and regulations, my friend. No. Stay in between, make money on both ends, and keep riding the wave. Somewhere along the way, you get 30 minutes and you can watch Twi'leks.
He nods. And throws a tenner to a Twi'lek.
And the Twi'leks continue to dance. Are you going to leave Sonnax and Titus downstairs and head up with Beck and Cal?
Yeah.
Remember, keep your comm link open.
He nods.
And
that
I
worked
think,
really well last time.
I think R2 would kind of beep and head over to you. And he says that he lost his 10 credits.
Oh, R2. Why do you keep choosing to bet on red? It's never going to work out for you. Yes, that's what you said the last 100 times.
Dejected beep.
Well, anyway, come with me now. We're going to go meet Mr. Loomis.
And I think the scene now would be, so, like, you guys head over towards, like, this area here where the lift goes up into the penthouse, and there's probably some guards stationed kind of at the bottom of the lift, and Sonnax and Titus kind of stay down there while Meena gets in between Cal and Beck, and they kind of help her into the elevator. The door to the turbo lift opens, and all of you guys kind of step in, and R2 says to Beck something about hoping his circuits don't get fried meeting with this guy.
What? Have I ever led you wrong? Nah. Yeah, let's not talk about the last time we were there. That was all on you. I never started a riot.
And there's a Star Wars kind of a screen wipe as the door shuts, and Sonnax and Titus are left below, and the three of you are taken up into the penthouse. A full minute passes as I'm going to move your token. You can probably see, but just make sure. A full minute passes as this turbo lift door closes and then skyrockets into the air. Your stomachs kind of hit the floor as the turbo lift picks up speed, accelerating, and then it decelerates. And eventually you swipe the key card and the door opens and you kind of step out into this plush, large office. There's a desk on the far end of the room, and you see a really large, hulking alien kind of sitting there. And he's in conversation with what looks to be two giant droids, each of whom have what looks to be giant shields kind of welded into their left arms. And he looks up as the door opens and says to the two of you, he says, let me find my little boy's name. Well there, I've been expecting you.
Cal will come in and offer a bow, and a smile and a nod. Cal Bala, at your service.
I am Loomis the Skinner, indeed. I see you've brought with you my favorite Rhodian, Meena Peru. I didn't think we would meet again like this. Meena looks at Loomis and says, I almost died as part of this deal, Loomis. You owe me one. Loomis starts to laugh. All right. Hand her over.
Well, I didn't introduce myself, Your Excellency Loomis the Skinner. The name's Beck Dunn, and my trusty sidekick B1. Yes, my droid greets you, Your Excellency, as well. Uh, to be honest, it's um, two Mandalorians helped Bala bring Meena Peru to you, and I think they're waiting downstairs. Um, but unfortunately, one of the requirements of this meeting was no weapons. But the Mandalorians, to them, weapons is almost a religion. They can't be without it. So maybe if you could see it in your kind heart to let them keep their weapons and come up and join, since they have brought you this Rhodian. At your service.
Ah, well said. But of course, my decision to not let any Mandalorians up here with their weapons was by design. I'd rather keep those dangerous types at a distance, if that's okay with you. At least until I know that I'm not personally in any danger. Do you understand? I'm just taking precautions, my good man. And, by the way, Beck Dunn, your name is quite familiar. You've done some wonderful work for my employees. A mechanic, a slicer, a man of many talents, I dare say.
Yes, that's me. That's me. When you want to get something done, you call Beck. Beck will get it done.
Cal nods as he watches the interaction. He says, well, actually danger is the reason we're here. We needed to talk to you about some Imperial danger. That a target has been placed upon your head, Mr. Skinner.
Ah, yes. And now we come to the meat of the discussion. I've certainly heard the rumors from Batu. I didn't expect you to show up again, Meena. I thought you were a grease spot. He kind of looks at the Rhodian, and the Rhodian laughs. I'm still drawing breath, Loomis, although I'm minus a left arm. But yes, the rumors about Batu are true. The entire world now is under Imperial occupation. I dare say the Empire probably wants you dead. They know about our little deal. And she says the quiet part out loud, as we often say. They know about us and our involvement with the fledgling rebellion. Then Loomis puts his hands up, oh, shut up, man! Don't say that out loud. He says, I'm just in it for the credits, Meena. If I can get paid by the Empire and by your guerrilla warriors, why not be rich? After all, I want another casino, maybe this time somewhere nicer. I'm through with Ord Mantell. Maybe a place on Canto Bight. And he kind of looks over to Beck and Cal.
Your Excellency, Loomis, it will not be easy to, and it will also be very expensive to uproot your entire organization and move so far away. But it would be prudent to do so because the eye of the Empire on you is never good. And I think that is where Cal, myself, and the Mandalorians downstairs may be of much service to you.
He kind of looks at you and says simply, I'm listening. If you are as good with negotiation as you are with a hydro spanner, then I'm waiting with bated breath.
Everyone knows that you're an arms dealer. a very good one. So, the Empire will need to move some of their own resources to bring it upon you. The Empire will need eyes, which Cal, myself, and the Mandalorians downstairs can be. But sometimes in these skirmishes, you might get your hands on a couple of crates of blaster rifles, a few cartons of grenades, which you could sell to the other side, make money off the entire deal. And we could be in there to help you, and we get our cut.
I'm not hearing about the part, though, where the Empire wants me dead. How am I
Well,
supposed to run from the ISB?
that's where it gets easy. We pick a planet between from here and Kanto. Something that's desolate, something that's hard to keep track of and hard to get to. And there you make your last stand. And there, with more arms and weapons that the ISP provide us, we make it look like that we destroy you and your base. To the world, Loomis the Skinner is dead. But out in Kanto, maybe? Don't you have any other ideas for new names?
We need to at least show the Empire that we did our job. And they'll look over at Beck and then back to Loomis and like, that I did my job. I was paid to take you out. They know your location. They know where you're at now. They're going to send somebody anyway if I don't do it. So if I can trick them, I've already got my connections inside. If I can show them some kind of proof that I did my job, then the Empire will look the other way now. They won't have to worry about you anymore.
What type of proof do they need? Do they need a body? Do they need video? What do you think will convince the ISB that Loomis the Skinner has met his ultimate demise?
We can put some time and resources in finding that out for you. But do we have a deal? And maybe it's time that we have proved that we are not here to harm you, and you can bring the Mandalorians up as well. It would do much favor with them, for you will need them by your side.
And Mr. Loomis, I don't want to work for the Empire, but I'm already in there. I might as well pretend to be a friend to them.
Loomis looks at Meena and the two of you and the droid. The droid kind of says on his own, you can trust him. And then Loomis says, very well. Then he hits a comm link on his desk and he says, guards, there are 2 Mandalorians below. Please accompany them to the penthouse. And then you kind of hear them say, sure thing, boss. On our way up now. There's a little mini screen wipe now. And we're down below towards the lift. And the guards kind of come up to Titus and Sonnax. Mandalorians, you heading up to the penthouse to see the boss?
We already said we won't be disarming ourselves. If your boss is fine with that, then we are too.
Well, then you're in luck. It seems that the boss has softened his heart on this matter. Head on up. We will accompany you, however.
That's fair.
Yeah, Sonnax just stands there and nods his helm forward towards the guards and will head up.
After you, Mandalorians. I imagine Sonnax gives like the, in the Return of the Jedi, the very faint Boba Fett head nod that he
Right.
gives, you know. And they stand in the lift, and then a minute later, there's another lift that opens, and Titus and Sonnax and 3 guards stepped out. Boss, here are the Mandalorians. At your service. We're going to stand by. And Loomis nods. Good to see you, Mandalorians. I forgive your botched job on Batu.
It was a little messier than it needed to be.
I've told you once if I've told you a million times. No disintegrations, Titus.
As you can see, Meena stands before you. I did not disintegrate her, though she did put up quite a fight. I only took her arm as payment for the wound she bestowed upon me.
Loomis looks at Meena. Meena kind of says,
Loomis arms can be replaced. But it sounds like we have some sort of plan everyone can agree on, no?
and he kind of looks to Beck and Cal.
Why don't you tell them what you have in mind, boys? If you get buy-in from the Mandalorian, I think this entire penthouse might be cooking with gas.
Yeah. I think Cal will fill them back in, because I think they know the plan already, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he'll fill them back in and say, that way, it's a win for all of us, I think. And I can keep close to the Empire and pretend to be a friend.
So out of character, so the plan's going to be, you go back, report back to the Empire saying we're going to need a little more time. Loomis is a hard nut to crack. In the meantime, he kind of gets some space and sets up something that everybody can play both sides against the middle.
Yep.
Basically, my understanding is, we're going to make it seem that we needed time. There was something, either a gunfight or, an explosive planted, and they appear to be dead.
Loomis kind of looks at you guys, and he points, he presses that button again on his desk, and he says, Luvi, can you report to the penthouse ASAP? And he gives a smile to the Mandalorians and everybody else involved. And not too long after, Luvi arrives kind of up there. Let me grab his token. And he arrives and kind of goes over to walks towards Loomis, and he kind of fills him in on the plan about what's going on. And I don't know, is there anything else to do tonight? Might not be.
I think we got it all settled for...
Well, Mr. Loomis, if there's nothing more, I would like to go back downstairs and engage with your fine establishment.
Of course. Help yourself. Of course, I'm not going to give any credits for gambling at the tables, but drinks are on me for the rest of the evening.
Hey.
And the company?
Well, I think the charming Cal Bala and the rest of you can take care of that yourselves.
Very well. And with that, Beck kind of gives him a two-finger, like, kind of air salute. Gentlemen, and he kind of nods to them and, very jauntily makes his way down to the casino floor.
Cat will hold up some credits and be like, yeah, the dance is on me.
There's an end credit scene with ISB Supervisor Beck waiting. Days pass, a week passes, and she still hasn't heard of anything. And she still doesn't have Loomis's head on a pike. All right, fun session. And recording.
I'm gonna have to give her something quick.